justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
Anger and outrage in downtown Phoenix.
Smashed windows, damaged police cars, and multiple arrests as peaceful protests quickly turned violent.
People running through the streets, tearing down fences, yelling profanities, and throwing things at officers, prompting an unlawful assembly.
This chaos all surrounding the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. These violent protests happening where we live overnight. Much of the damage in downtown Phoenix. And Kylie is field anchoring there for us this morning. Kylie, good morning.
Good morning, Jamie, and good morning to everybody at home. If you're just now joining us, it was definitely a very angry night in the city of Phoenix. Lots of unrest through the streets of downtown Phoenix. I am here at Phoenix Police headquarters. I'm going to step out of the way so you can get a closer look because everything really came to a head right here. If you're watching our newscast, it all happened about 9:30, 9:45. We're here at Washington and 7th Avenue where the story this morning is the cleanup. You can see a city worker here. We've seen a couple of city workers kind of surveying the damage, cleaning up the glass, and it looks like they're putting in, I don't know if they're putting in glass. It looks like they're putting in glass, maybe a kind of a temporary door in front of police headquarters because those peaceful protests took a violent turn for the second night in a row. Most of the violence of last night started after police tried to break up the crowd of people. There were protests both at the Capitol and here at police headquarters, and then damage to buildings all across downtown. And we're learning more about the damage as we continue to see the sun come up and our crews kind of roam around. We know that there is damage to the Herberger Theater, several court buildings, the police headquarters, and even a Hooters bar at the Arizona Center. As you come back out live to us, our photographer Mike Conley is showing you this is a crew that kind of cleans up graffiti. You can see two city workers now. I'm not going to show you. Mike, hold on tight. He's trying to move the camera around. It's live TV, folks. We can't show you the message because there are several expletives, but as you can see, they're going over here and cleaning up some of the graffiti just across the street from the Phoenix Police headquarters. We do want to send it to Maria. Maria, you've been kind of roaming all around the valley this morning, in particular downtown. You are live in front of the Arizona Center and the Hooters there. Can you show us some of the damage? What are you seeing from your vantage point?
Yes, Kylie, we are here right at the Arizona Center. The Hooters right behind me. I counted at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes in the windows here. Smashed glass all over the ground. Tables overturned. Trash cans overturned as well. So this is just some of the damage right here at the Arizona Center. We do want to show you, though, video of just down the street over by the Orpheum Theater. We have police cars all lined up there. They had their windows smashed in, their tires slashed. And then we want to show you people just breaking windows here in downtown Phoenix. Lots of chaos happening last night. And then, can you hear it? Right there this morning, you can hear the sound of all of that crunching glass getting cleaned up. And then back out here live at the Arizona Center, again, this damage pretty widespread. We're right across the street from the Herberger Theater, and you can't see it from right on this corner, but if Isaac is able to zoom in just a little bit, you see that golf cart. There's a broken glass door over there that they've just boarded up. So we're not done yet. It is incredible to learn how much damage has been done in our beautiful city of downtown Phoenix. So next half hour, we're going to try to show you another part of this area. Again, we've reached out to Phoenix Police to see what's in place, what happened last night, what are they going to do if there's another protest that happens here tonight. So we will keep you posted, and I will be moving on to the next location to show you this disturbing damage. Back to you.
us kind of a first-hand look of the damage. We will check back in with you at 7:30. Obviously, a lot of questions remain. We're waiting to hear back from police if they've got a plan in place, which I'm sure they do. If we see more protests tonight, how many people were hurt? What is the damage done to the buildings downtown? Obviously, we don't have any idea on an estimate yet, but those are all things that we are waiting to find out. And obviously, we know our crews back at the station are working hard to get those answers. Plus, we, of course, are working hard out here as well. We do want to bring you a statement that Reverend Jared Maupin just sent. You know, we've talked about him probably many times on this show. He's a prominent civil rights leader here in the Valley, and he did release a statement for us this morning. We want to read it in part. He says the rioting is the direct result of Black, Latino, and urban communities having been marginalized and disenfranchised in the extreme. Despite this fact, community of colors must strive to overcome a justified anger. Him sending us that statement just a few hours ago. So obviously this is what's happening in the city of Phoenix, but we want to show you some of the protests that are taking place all across the nation. Again, there were about 27 cities to our count that saw kind of similar things happen. So let's go ahead and show you some of that.
Let me start on him.
So Des Moines, Denver, Washington, D.C., among the dozens of cities expressing their concern and anger. So this is all stemming from an incident that happened on Monday in Minneapolis, where an unarmed black man, George Floyd, died in police custody. The officer, Derek Chauvin, the former police officer who kneed on George Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes, is now charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter.
We can only charge a case when we have sufficient admissible evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. As of right now, we have that.
So charging documents show Floyd was unresponsive for nearly 3 of those minutes. And developing this morning, we have learned that some new video shows at least 3 officers kneeling on Floyd. I know we're kind of bouncing back and forth between the Valley and obviously what's happening across the nation. But if you come back out live to us, obviously there is a lot of trash in this area. And so this is kind of a better look at city crews. We want to show you kind of cleaning up some of the damage, some of the trash left from yesterday. The power washer is working on some of the graffiti as well. And in Atlanta, I'm sure the same thing is happening this morning, because over in Atlanta, protesters lit cars on fire and smashed the entrance of CNN headquarters and spray painted messages like you're seeing here on the building. Let's go ahead and show you some of that video out of Atlanta. Police actually had to set up a barricade inside the lobby there to keep the protesters out. Police showed up in large numbers, and several of their cars were vandalized. At least 1 car burned, and at one point protesters started throwing things at officers.
They just threw something on fire, Chris, a firecracker. Something's on fire. You okay? You okay? You okay, guys? You all right? Is everyone okay? You all right, William? Okay, we're okay. Our crew's okay. They just threw a firecracker in on us.
And obviously for those crews working last night, not just in Atlanta, but all across the country, I mean, that was what was going on. It was raw. It was real. You heard CNN reporter there, Nick Valencia, reporting from inside the building. Atlanta police say that protesters also threw knives, bricks, bottles, and fired BB guns at officers. 3 officers were hurt and multiple arrests have been made. We know that Georgia's governor declared a state of emergency and activated 500 National Guard troops. So we, of course, here at Arizona's Family, we're going to continue to follow this story throughout the morning and, of course, throughout the day. If you do need to step away from the TV, make sure you know that you can always find the latest details on our app, AZ Family News app. If you haven't downloaded it, be sure to do so. Now is the time. And you can also find the information on azfamily.com. Jamie, we're going to continue to stay outside police headquarters here. We've got Maria roaming around, so we have got this story covered on all sides. But obviously this morning, big cleanup underway here in downtown Phoenix, and still a lot of questions remain about how many people potentially were hurt last night, the arrests that were made, the damage done. So those are all questions that we are going to be asking officials throughout the day today. And we, of course, hope to find out more information. And when we do, we'll pass that along to all of you.
Yes, we are reaching out here at the station to our Phoenix City Mayor, to Phoenix Police. We want to get answers to those questions. Hopefully, within our show, we've got 3 more hours to go here. So hopefully we can get some of those answers. Kelly, good work out there.
So simple. At this location, to immediately and peacefully disperse. Arizona Revised Statute 13-2902 prohibits remaining present at an unlawful assembly, and if you do not disperse, you will be subject to arrest.
Another night of chaos and outrage surrounding the death of George Floyd, the Minneapolis man who died in police custody earlier this week.
Some of these protests escalating after another vigil that was for Deon Johnson, a man shot and killed by DPS this week in Phoenix. All these pictures coming to you from Phoenix, where we live. Happening overnight. This morning, cleanup begins, but another protest could happen tonight. So what happens as police prepare for another big evening? I'm Jamie Serrata. Good morning, Arizona. Kylie is live outside downtown Phoenix, where a lot of damage has taken place to a lot of those buildings, Kylie.
You know, damage all across the downtown Phoenix core. And I will say, we have talked to a couple of folks who live in Phoenix, and a lot of them are really upset by all of this. We found a couple ladies that came down. You're going to hear from them throughout this show, but they said they wanted to help, so they've been picking up trash. Another man drove by, and he said, I'm so upset to wake up to this and drive around. We are here right across the street from Phoenix Police Headquarters, where if you were watching this show last night about 9:45, 10 o'clock, I mean, what a different scene. Now you can see everything is calm, but they've got the barricades up. And then as we show you the front entrance there, it looks like they've put up kind of some temporary glass and temporary doors because those were damaged. So lots of repairs being made all across the area. Lots of questions remain. We're working to find out if anyone was arrested, the damage done to the city, and if anyone had to go to the hospital if they were hurt during these protests as well. So this was video our photographer caught as one man was injured. So he was down on the sidewalk. One officer was trying to help with the friends while the protesters kind of surrounded the area. People were not leaving, so his friends and the officer actually helped pick him up, and then they rushed him to a waiting car. He was apparently driven to the hospital from there. Even, obviously, our reporters and photographers there were in harm's way, including Brianna Whitney.
So it was quiet here for just a couple minutes, and now the Phoenix Police Department has gotten back on the loudspeaker telling people to disperse immediately, and that is... Stop. I'm so sorry, you guys. I didn't see that coming. I'm so sorry. We're doing the best we can.
Yeah, and obviously a really tough situation for all of our crews last night. I know I was watching this at home, trying to go to bed, but just the coverage kind of kept me up. And at first, when Brianna was out here, everything was fine. And then obviously things escalated really quickly. I can tell you, I texted her this morning, haven't heard back, but hopefully she's doing okay. And all of our crews obviously out here just doing their jobs as journalists to tell the story. And we've got our morning team on this story. Maria, I think she has moved 4 times in just the last hour and a half, trying to give you the most updated look and coverage on the damage in downtown. Maria, you were at Civic Center, or Arizona Science Center, excuse me, earlier, and now you've moved on to the Phoenix Municipal Courts. Show me the damage and what you're seeing from your vantage point.
So, Kylie, we're just a few blocks away from you. The pattern looks to be around Washington Avenue, this whole strip, broken glass everywhere. Check out the amount of glass in this trailer. You can just see how much is in here, and come this way because this is, again, the Glendale, the municipal building. You're not supposed to be able to do this. Put your hand right through the window, and you can hear in the background a saw, and right over here, all of the workers here. usually on a Saturday morning, you don't see city public works workers out here, but they are sawing off the plywood. They are putting it on the board. I mean, how many windows do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 10 windows that I've counted out here. So I want you to know this is right behind Stickler's. It's a favorite restaurant here in downtown Phoenix. They were struck too. So they have several windows that were broken. They have crews here cleaning up all the glass and boarding up those windows too. So again, this is Washington Avenue, right at 3rd Avenue. This is only like 3 blocks from where you're located, Kylie. And so it's just really disturbing to see just the amount of damage here. There are also some leftover things from the Phoenix Police Department, what they used last night to try to control the crowds. And then just come again this way. Look at all this glass. It's mind-blowing. Back to you.
You know, it really is, Maria. I have lived in Arizona most of my life. I've been in Phoenix for about 10 years, including college, and it really is hard to see. I think, just driving in as the sun was coming up this morning, kind of touring downtown, I think it's fair to say it is sad to see all of this damage to the city that I think we all know and love. Coming back out here live, we've been kind of showing you this throughout the morning. There's some graffiti on this brick here. Some of it we can't show you, so we're kind of on a wide shot, but city crews are working hard this morning. This man, he has been out and about. We have seen him since about 5:30 this morning, kind of power washing, trying to get rid of all of the black writing, obviously working hard on it, but it definitely is taking a while for all of that to come out. We know that this is not the only city where protests happened as we come kind of back out here live outside of Phoenix Police Headquarters. I mean, this is happening in cities all across the country. To our count, 27 cities had protests and riots last night. Here's a sneak peek at what we saw in cities from Minneapolis to Detroit and Portland, Oregon. It was another night of nationwide demonstrations and violence after the death of George Floyd. In Atlanta, protesters lit cars on fire and smashed the entrance of CNN headquarters. Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp declared a state of emergency and activated 500 National Guard troops.
What I see happening on the streets of Atlanta is not Atlanta. This is not a protest. This is not in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. This is chaos.
In New York City, protesters burned a police bus. At the White House, a couple hundred demonstrators tussled with Secret Service officers, leading to a brief lockdown inside. In Portland, Oregon, police declared a riot after a crowd set the Justice Center on fire and broke into a mall. About 1,700 National Guard troops have been mobilized in the Minneapolis area as hundreds of protesters ignored a curfew overnight. Firefighters worked through the night to put out several dozen fires set by the protesters.
The action that they're taking is not going to get the results that they're seeking.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz pleaded for them to go home.
The wanton destruction, and specifically of ethnic businesses that took generations to build, are being torn down.
The demonstrations only intensified after Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was charged yesterday with third-degree murder and manslaughter. All 4 officers who were part of the arrest have been fired. And that former Minneapolis, Minnesota police officer's wife did release a statement saying that she has filed for divorce and that she is really devastated and broken up about the death of George Floyd. Again, this death happened on Monday. In the last couple of nights, we have seen these protests and this unrest all across the country, including Phoenix. So we've got our pulse on the situation here. We have got the biggest crew in the valley working hard to continue to bring you the latest information, and we will have all of that information, of course, on air and online. Be sure to download our AZ Family News app and head to azfamily.com as we continue to track this developing story this morning. We do want to kind of bring everybody together, Kim and Jamie, in studio this morning, guys. I will say,
is it dusty out there?
I was doing well there. It's really dusty, and so in between hits, my eyes are watering. I'm having to get some water, which I'm going to do right now. But I am surprised at what's in the air, but obviously we know There was a lot of tear gas here, lots of measures, obviously, to try to calm the protesters. And so, unfortunately, there's a lot of lingering dust and particles and things like that in the air that's making it kind of hard to stay outside for a long time. So I'm going to grab a drink of water. I'll see you guys at the top of the show as we continue to cover this big story here in the Valley.
All right, we'll reassess this as well, Kylie. We don't want you to have any issues out there.